I fucking loved this movie.
I'm glad to get you early so you can be cranky for someone else's pod.
I like how Olen thinks he's cool by calling it a pod instead of a podcast.
Well,
we're going to cast this one out.
I am cool, so take that. I'm going to jump right into this, guys. You good to go?
Yeah.
Cold start. Let's go, baby.
Let's start. Welcome to the Too Old or Pure Gold Movie Podcast. In today's special 420 episode, it only seems right that we talk about the 1978 stoner movie Up in Smoke, otherwise known as Cheech Chong's Up in Smoke. The format of our podcast, two Gen Xers rewatch beloved movies from our youth to find out, are they really as good as we remember? To help us debate and ultimately pass judgment, we ask our millennial co-host to watch these movies for the first time and help us determine, are they too old or pure gold? I'm your host, Olen Vanderleeden, representing Gen X. Joining me today is my Gen X co-host, Mathew Stockton.
Hello.
Representing the millennials this week, we have regular co-host and musician, Clef Seeley.
Hi, hi.
And also representing the millennials, for the first time, we have my favorite person in cannabis, Emily, joining us. Welcome, Emily.
Fuck you.
Howdy. Howdy. Thanks for having me.
I also work in cannabis, and I guess I am not the favorite.
Oh. Ouch. Awkward.
Take that.
We don't want no smoke.
Before we get into this episode, just a reminder, we need your support to grow this podcast, so please remember to like, follow, subscribe, and maybe tell a friend. Today's movie is the 1978 stoner movie Up in Smoke. Up in Smoke stars Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong, otherwise known as Cheech and Chong. The movie was written by Cheech and Chong and directed by Lou Adler. Lou was kind of an odd choice to direct because he wasn't known for being a movie director. He made his money as a music producer and was the producer of Cheech and Chong's comedy albums. That's really where they got their start, was comedy albums. So
that's cool.
I guess that qualifies him to direct, or maybe no one else would do it. The tagline from
he was part of the vision.
The tagline for this movie, I really like it. The tagline is, "Don't go straight to see this movie." Get it? IMDb describes the film as stoner musicians Pedro DePacus and Anthony Mann Stoner unknowingly smuggle a van made entirely of marijuana from Mexico to Los Angeles with incompetent police sergeant Stadenko hot on their trail. Oof, that's a rough description. I think my dad can do better. So for those of you that have not seen the movie, I asked my 94-year-old dad to watch Up in Smoke and summarize the plot. Emily, I get my dad to try to summarize every plot in 90 seconds.
Oh man, this is a funny stoner movie about two pothead slackers named Cheech and Chong. The story starts with Cheech picking up hitchhiker Chong, and off they go until they are arrested for obviously smoking the marijuana that is billowing from their car. However, soon they are released from custody when the judge is found to be drinking whiskey at the bench. A whole series of misadventures follows. The main one being that they are driving a marijuana truck. And I mean, actually, a truck wholly made of marijuana, driving it from Mexico to LA. While performing at the Roxy Theater, the van catches fire and the burning marijuana gets the entire audience and the police high. Now, this seems to help them in winning the competition. I think you'll enjoy the movie, but if there is something you don't understand, just say, "Dave's not there, man."
Perfect. Just on
Okay,
point.
so for the record, I always like to get his read on it. He loved the movie. He loved it.
Wow.
I love that you loved it.
Spectacular.
Okay.
Spectacular.
So everybody knows Cheech and Chong, right? I don't know why we're supposed to know them, but everybody knows Cheech and Chong, right?
Yeah, they're like the most famous stoners.
Yeah, I think they're the original stoners for sure.
The originals. The OG, if you will.
Clef, have you seen this before?
This movie? I had never seen this movie before yesterday. Yesterday, I watched this movie twice. I fucking loved this movie. I couldn't believe that I loved this movie. I went into this movie thinking this was going to be so stupid, and I wrote down so many notes. and I wasn't even high. I loved this movie. I cannot wait to talk about this.
Oh my God, you've already answered several of my questions. Okay, Emily, how does this movie sit for you on rewatch?
Yeah, so the first time I would have watched it would have been in high school at the Edmonton Legislator grounds. We all went and did the 420 smoking there, and then went to a friend's house and ate way too much food and watched it. So I barely remembered it. So rewatching it now, I was actually blown away, and I don't know if it's because of the Amazon HD rework or what have you, but I feel like our generation is watching shows now that are so themed in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, like chasing that nostalgia, that when I was watching it, it didn't feel like it was a foreign, like it didn't feel like it was in the 70s. It felt like a modern movie with 70s touches to it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I loved it. I thought it was great.
Okay, well, we perhaps need an opposite opinion. Matthew, I am not refunding your $4.99 before you ask.
I texted Olen yesterday saying I needed to rent this and I want my money back.
Okay. What'd you think, Matthew?
Well, this one actually kind of landed in a weird place for me. So I never connected with slacker movies or slacker characters when I was young. I was wired completely the opposite way, right? Like I grew up in a small town and my instinct was to graft, move forward, get out of there, and build a life for myself. So the whole fantasy of Cheech and Chong just wandering through life half-baked and unbothered didn't feel aspirational to me at all. And I didn't put it down. It just felt so foreign to what my reality was, right? And that said, now that I'm older, I can see something else in it. So not ambition or rebellion. And I think just opting out systematically, like as I'm older now, I'm 55, I'm opting out of things systematically. I'm no longer buying into a lot of the stuff. So strangely, that part makes more sense to me now than it would have when I was a teenager, you know? Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. This, in many ways, I could see this movie being aspirational. There are things about it that have aspirational elements.
Yeah,
Everybody's got to drive a weed truck.
You have to dig deep, but it's there.
When I was young, the Chong actually shows it, right? His parents are rich. When I was young, only the rich kids were the slackers because the rest of us had to fucking make it, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Interesting.
First of all, I'll say they didn't look like kids. They both looked like 40-year-old men. But
They did.
100%.
So that was jarring when you see the dad yelling at his slacker kid and you go, wait, is that the gardener? Or
Which one's the dad?
yeah, which one's the dad?
Which one's the dad?
Yeah. At least, Tommy, I know you're going to listen to this episode. At least you aged well, buddy. 'Cause he looks good now, but he doesn't look much older now than he did then.
He didn't.
No.
Although in that rear view mirror, that quick shot of him, I also too was like, like he's got a little like the midriff just for a second.
Okay, well,
I think there's something else in this movie. Olen, just let me jump in. This is kind of the moment that cannabis culture entered mainstream comedy, right? And it's also a snapshot of, and I think Olen and I will understand this because we were there. It's a snapshot of this. The late 70s cultural mood was really weird because it didn't quite know where it was anymore, right? The revolutions of the 60s had burned out, right? That idealism was gone and the 80s hadn't hit, right? So instead of trying to change the system, people were just kind of ignoring it, the slackers. And I find the late 70s a weird in-between place for culture. Anyway,
for me, watching this movie, it was a very weird experience because I grew up with the lore of Cheech and Chong. And I actually grew up with the album. So this movie, not a surprise, is basically they had a very successful album and they said, let's make it into a movie and we need a weed truck to throw in there. So I listened to the album a lot. And those guys were iconic for sure. But I did ask myself, do you have to be stoned to appreciate this movie? Because I was a little bit like, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
it's a very jarring movie. There's a lot of the movie does have this one long, it's the hero's journey, but it's the quest for marijuana.
Yeah.
And it happens in like stages. And so, like, definitely, for sure, I went into this with the expectation of like, this is probably not going to be a great movie. I'm probably not going to be registering with this because I haven't smoked weed in a few months, but definitely was shocked at how much I loved this movie.
That's
And then I watched it again to just make sure.
Dude.
And I was
make
like,
sure.
no.
Clef, I kind of thought you would like this movie because take this the right way because I love weirdos. You're a fucking weirdo, and I love you for that. And I'm like, Clef is gonna love this movie.
I appreciate that. Yeah, this movie hit home for me.
Structurally, this thing is barely a movie. It's basically
Yeah.
It's basically a string of sketches connected by a loose idea that they're accidentally driving a van made up of marijuana. And the movie is like being stoned. A scene starts, a joke happens, everyone gets confused, and the film wanders off somewhere else. It's like being high, right?
That's so true.
Right.
And also
Yes.
there are little moments that happen in it where I had these like glimmers of like, is this actually genius? Like, is this because there's like deep social commentary about like drug policy and about immigration and about race relations and things that
Immigration,
still
yes.
they're like super relevant today. I mean, the whole idea of like the cousin calling the ice on himself, right? Like, yeah, Emily, you get this.
Ride and lunch.
A free ride in lunch to get taken to Mexico because they could only afford the DJ or the bus. That's so fucking
That
funny.
was hilarious.
That's
You're
so
right.
fucking funny. And I just couldn't believe like how funny I found some things in this movie. Yeah, no, totally.
Okay, well, a couple of other things I noticed in this movie. So, first of all, I thought they're not making smoking pot look fun. Like those parties don't look
Yes.
fun. But then I thought,
Yes.
oh yeah, I've been at parties before where I've been the driver and I'm sober, and a party when you're sober is a very different view from when you're partaking at the party, right? So,
Yes.
I kind of saw that.
Yes, it is very self-deprecating. There's no doubt of that.
And then the other thing that was really kind of fun and nostalgic to watch is you mentioned it, Clef, the whole journey to find pot, right? And
Yeah, it's
and
the hero's
now
journey.
we live in Canada and it's fully legal and you just go down to the store and you get it and people are smoking it everywhere. But it was a real journey trying to find it in those days, for sure. Well, I'm sure everybody knows this, but for those that don't, Cheech and Chong began in the late 60s when Cheech Marin, a Chicano comic from Los Angeles, met Tommy Chong, a Canadian musician and improviser in Vancouver. Cheech was in Vancouver as a draft dodger. He was avoiding the Vietnam War. And together, their counterculture comedy about outsiders, burnouts, authority haters took off through successful comedy albums. So they started in comedy, and those albums were successful. Matthew, did you have that album?
No.
I could picture the album cover now. Green album cover. I think it was the Pot Van.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I didn't like the album. I never did as like a younger person. I didn't listen to it for this, but I remember not really enjoying it, like finding it kind of kitschy.
Yeah.
The first album I ever bought was I went halves with my brother and we got AC/DC Dirty Deeds.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
So this was their first movie, and then they cranked out 5 films in 6 years, plus another one that was with the two of them, but not a Cheech and Chong per se. Out of 6 films, they had a total box office of 220 million. So these guys had a very tight window of success. Like a 7-year period where they cranked out 6 films and made a shitload of money and then basically disappeared. And they went off and did other things. Boy, this movie is fascinating in so many ways.
In so many ways.
And it's very polarizing. Like, people love it or hate it. I was just confused.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking while watching it, I was thinking my wife, Emily, I was thinking she would not appreciate a single second of this movie. like she would just be like, what are they? Ew, ew, ew. There is a lot of ew in this movie. I mean, stepping into a bowl of cereal
Oh my God.
for some reason makes me go like, ugh.
Oh, that's just...
Like it makes me retch.
They both look like they smelled. Yeah, yeah.
This kind of thing happens.
And Cheech's house is disgusting. Or Chong's house is disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting.
When that baby's stomping on him.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Okay, Emily, we were asking you about cannabis culture. Is this a good representation?
I don't think so. I think that it shows, for example, when the officer is behind them and pulling them over, and Tommy, I believe, is sitting on Cheech's lap, and he is standing in the back, and he's getting a big lung full of weed, and he comes up to the door and he says, "Can I have your hot dog?" I don't think that when you smoke weed, you like completely forget the objective that's in front of you and what you were doing. So I think like those types of things where like you smoke so much and your mood changes entirely in 1 second, those things aren't real. But I do think, when Chong is smoking that absolutely tiny roach and he smokes it and he inhales it into his lung, like that's something that really happens to stoners for sure.
Yep.
Are you at the party and, you've got people all over the place smoking too much and acting, foolish? Yes, of course. But I don't think that it does a really good representation of like when you smoke, what happens immediately after.
That's true.
So, amongst cannabis people, has everybody tried to roll a joint that big because of this movie?
Oh, yes. We actually did for an event, I think, Olen, with Three Saints. I rolled a 3-ounce joint for my 30th birthday to smoke at Kind magazine. And yeah, it was crazy. It didn't smoke very well, and it burns, and it tastes awful.
I was never really a weed guy when I was young, but I used to cut lines of coke that thick. I called them I called them widow makers.
And did you react like that girl does after she does those 2 banger lines of cleaning product?
Of
That's
comment.
hilarious.
Matthew's just like honk honk, making these weird sounds.
I'm a goose now.
So glad those days are over.
Yeah, that giant joint, like in 2018, like that, I was thinking, like, yeah, that's a big joint. But in 2018, I went to a farm party and this guy showed up with a cornucopia of drugs, literally a cornucopia. And he rolled a joint that was the size of a traffic cone, a true traffic cone for this farm party. And it went around and I took one hit off of that giant traffic cone party. It was just it's unreal.
Did it have Labrador in it?
Oh,
Stop.
that was one of the best bits, and that was one of the bits I remembered from this movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say to you guys, we should release an uncommon Labrador stream.
Emily, I was thinking that as I was watching this.
That's a great idea.
That's so clever.
Yeah.
Oh,
That would work so well.
Okay, well let's ask you guys the best parts of this movie. What did you enjoy? Clef, I feel like you got a long list.
Let me jump in before Clef.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
please.
out of all of this, the scene where they play the band when they're doing the thing, I love that scene to the bottom of my heart. I actually absolutely adored that scene. The music
That's number one on my list.
The music was actually good.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and he's wearing this tutu. I'm like that, like I don't hate this movie because of that scene.
If I can expand on that.
Go in,
So
yeah.
the Battle of the Bands part of this movie is a true like cinematic climax. This movie gets better with time, and some of the things that I like about it, just like Mathew says, the stage performance at the end they're playing is incredible. The song is incredible. Everyone's losing it. It's incredible. But they did such a beautiful job of like easing into it where the band, they come on stage and they're just fucked, right? Like, and everything is just fucked and everybody is booing and it just seems like this is going to be terrible. And by the way, they've already built into this. They've done such a good job with this Battle of the Bands competition because every band that plays before them is bad, like shitty bad, but they're bad in like a real bad way, like not in like a playing it up way. Like they're just shitty bands and they suck and their music sucks and it feels like it sucks. And it's like, yeah, you've been to Battle of the Band competitions where the music does suck that much. And then our heroes come on stage, and they get ready, and Tommy Chong just falls over on the drums. The whole drum kit fell over. I laughed so hard, okay? And then they're propping him up. They set him up, and then the music starts playing as the smoke is coming into the Roxy, and the shots start becoming like live action, like it's a rock film, and then the music is so clearly dubbed over. And I have to tell you, 100%, I have had that experience on stage multiple times where you just are not sure if it's good. You're not sure if the music you're playing is good, but it feels good to you because you're stoned and everyone else is stoned and everyone's having fun. And then the next day you're thinking, man, that was such a fun show. And then everyone's telling you how fun of a show it was. They captured that essence perfectly in cinema. That's perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
It was great.
Nice.
So good.
Absolutely great.
It was truly for me like the pinnacle of the movie. And then even, with Tommy in the back of the van and like they're faking the sex and they're having the conversation and everyone outside thinks that it's
that
was
scene I loved as well.
That was
because
hilarious.
drags out to thunderous applause.
I love that everyone was clapping because it's
they're cheering.
It's good to be a good lover, right? And everyone's cheering, right?
Yeah, everyone's happy for him. Everyone's happy for him, and he has no idea what's going on.
Confused. Oh yeah, that was funny.
Oh my god! And then before that, for me, like the Tijuana border was just hilarious. Throwing the joint out. You're one car away from the border patrol, and you throw the joint out, and it lands into a car full of nuns next to you, and then the nuns are all getting frisked
and enjoying it,
and smiling and enjoying it. Like, just this movie, it was just like hits. It was just like making me laugh so hard.
Okay, as usual, I'm going to take you guys from deep to shallow. Did you notice the license plates on his car?
Yes. Muff Diver.
Muff Diver.
Is that what it said? I can remember.
Yes,
it was
Muff Diver,
like
Muff Diver. I looked at, it was halfway through the movie that I like, does that say what I think it says? It's so funny.
Yeah, I said at the very beginning. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna jump on with other scenes I liked. So, a female judge named Dykes drinking vodka on the bench.
So good.
Didn't catch that.
I love it.
Oh, there were some nice small details in this, like that nameplate. Like they didn't call it out; they just left the nameplate on the desk for you to notice.
So many of the things in this movie are just like subtle touches. I mean, like even when Cheech meets Chong. Right, and he says, all right, get in the car. I got stuff to do. But he's going the other way, the way that he came. He just did a 180 on the highway to pick him up because he thought he was a chick. And now he's like, gonna just take him somewhere.
I love how calm he is about that. He's just like, oh, I thought you were a beautiful babe, and now you're not. But that's okay. Just get in anyway. Like, what?
But then he's like, hey, nice car, man. And then he's like, you know what? This guy's all right.
Well, that's something else we've lost in the modern day is hitchhiker culture, too. People don't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
No.
That's because they listen to Matthew's podcast and finds out what happens to people who hitchhike.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, can I ask a fashion question? Half shirt with suspenders. Do we like this style?
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say the unsung hero in this movie is the short ties and the crop tops.
Short ties, crop tops.
Yeah.
I mean, the cops, like they did such a good job with all the fashion and all of the everything.
Strawberry, his like denim fit with that yellow short tie put me into a coma. I thought that was so funny. Yeah, I think the crop top red suspender thing is weird for an adult man to be wearing for sure, but I think it's made for really, really cute Halloween costumes for girls following the film.
Oh.
Or a 25-year-old fuckboy.
Yes.
Well put. I had a roommate like that.
Did you? Can I have his number?
I'll get it for you. Okay, the laundry truck, like the cops hiding in the laundry truck with the zipper pee hole. Every time they unzipped that, I just had to like pause for a second to just like catch my breath, like with how much I was laughing. I don't know why.
The cops were like unsung hero characters in this movie. Like the scene where they're talking about how they're gonna get the money and all of that, and they're all yelling suggestions, and the one cop is like, a Trojan horse, and then the other one yells, a piggy bank, and then the other one's like, a tall glass vase, and it's like, what the hell? And then when they're all slamming the food at the end, and that one cop finally gives in and like scoops that whole pizza with his two hands into his mouth, like, oh my god.
Oh, Did you notice when he did that, the other cop started laughing? I think the actor was actually laughing when the other cop did that. Like that was like a real sort of like.
Yeah, it seemed
Or-
improv for sure.
When they went as Harry Krishna's undercover, first of all, having to mug Harry Krishna's just for the towel,
Yes.
but then just putting it on over your
yes.
pants and shirt.
Yes. And then they try to go in, and then they think that that's going to get them into the Battle of the Bands because they're undercover cops, so they still look like cops. And they're trying to go in, and they're like, you need tickets. And then he's like, okay, you know what? I'll level with you, man. The truth is, we're police, and we need to get through. He's like, that's a gun, not a ticket, dude. Like,
I'm not sure why the one bouncer said Anita Bryant was right at that time. Like, did they think they were gay or something? Because Anita Bryant was like famously like anti-gay at this time.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And the one bouncer says Anita Bryant was right, and I'm like, they think that people carrying guns dressed like Hare Krishnas are gay. Like I didn't get it.
maybe it was like small dick, like cop syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end when the cops are getting really stoned outside, like the other cops are kind of being like, hey man, like whatever. But then that one cop, he's stoned and he's still a prick, you know? So like there was still this nuance. There's still like a little bit of this nuance.
That also makes me think too, there's, I don't know why, but the nuances and the way that they talk, like how many grams of flour is in a lid? I've never heard a lid as a format of flour measurement before this movie. Like they kept saying like I bought a lid and I smoked a lid, and I was like, how much is a lid?
And then he said, I bought a lid. He said, you can smoke a lid, you can smoke an ounce. I kind of thought that a lid was an ounce.
That's what I thought.
So, like, I was thrown
And
back.
then the other thing he says too is, I'll smoke anything, a smoke on a stick as well. And I didn't know what that meant until the end of the movie when he put the hash on the pin.
So my friends used to use lid when we were young. Still, it went into the 80s a little bit. It's an ounce essentially.
Okay.
Oh, so he was just saying it casual way and formal way. That's interesting.
Yeah, lid is an ounce. Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you know do you know Zip, Emily?
Yes. I've heard zip before. I've just never heard lid before. Also, I thought it was interesting his panic attack after smoking that much weed at the beginning. I thought that was interesting because I think a lot of times consumers think that just because you consume a lot or often that the possibility of greening out or having a panic attack is impossible. And I did like that they showed him being like so high all of the time, but still freaking the freak out just because he had too much.
Totally. If anything, since it's become legal, it's like more normal to have little panic attacks and just be like, whatever. It's part of the...
Do you guys do you want to hear this? Do you want to hear the story of the first time I actually got high on cannabis and had a bit of a panic attack, and this is why I like really never used cannabis after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I was in Toronto and we went to this club called Heaven or Hell, and I didn't know how to smoke weed really, so I smoked a lot of it. And I can remember somebody was in a corner bank taking money out, and I saw this cyclist like cycling up, and I thought he wanted to go into the bank, so I held the door open like he was going to cycle right into the bank, and then fine. So then we go to this club, and it's called Heaven or Hell. So downstairs is dark, and I'd never been there before. We go up these stairs that are pitch black. Then we open the doors, and it's this pure white room with like minimalist doo 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 playing, and it was empty because we were early, and there was a skinhead dancing with a nun in the room, and I went totally paranoid because I didn't think I was seeing what I was actually seeing, but that was part of the show, and I like had to leave, and that was the first time I ever got totally paranoid. I'm like, a skinhead
sense.
dancing with a nun.
That's earned paranoia.
Set and setting.
Yeah.
Well, one more thing I want to call out is great on this is the movie poster. That's a fun movie poster. The two of them rolled up in a joint together.
Yes.
That's true too.
I don't know the poster really.
Okay, well, lots of fun parts. Let's talk about worst parts. Anything in here you didn't like?
A lot of the, as I was saying before, a lot of the body stuff kind of makes me retch. So like peeing into the laundry basket was like, ugh, just makes me go, ugh. Smoking a dog shit chimichanga of a joint makes me go, ugh.
Yeah, they didn't mean
You know?
they didn't need to make them both so grimy.
Yeah.
You know what
No. Yeah, like stacks of like nasty dishes really makes me go, I don't know, like just made me go like, ugh. You know,
I had
stepping in cereal.
I had eating your stash when you're pulled over. Like, that looks horrible. Wouldn't you just chuck it out the window or just go to jail? Like, taking all those pills.
Just go to jail.
All those pills.
Yeah, all that
For sure. Like,
acid.
seeing somebody kind of stumble around like that does make me a little bit uneasy. And I will say, like, towards the end of the movie, like, if this had been more of a director's cut length of a movie,
Yeah.
like, I don't think I would have enjoyed that kind of thing as much.
Yeah, and some of the sketches run way too long after the joke lands. Like, it just keeps going, and I think for me the movie wanders so much. I think it forgets what it's doing sometimes. I think it kind of goes off on tangents. Again, maybe this movie was genius in that they're like, let's make a movie like you are actually stoned. Right?
This movie is genius the same way that, like, the music of, like, The Grateful Dead is genius. Like, it felt very kind of tangential and a little bit spontaneous, and like, things just kind of worked because of their dynamic, because of their comedy dynamic. They were able to juggle a lot of things back and forth. Like, it is true that, like, most stoners are not like Tommy Chong, but every stoner knows a stoner who's like Tommy Chong, right?
That's true. That's so true. I also really didn't enjoy the way that they threw moss all around the place and called it cannabis. Like, that looks so gross. Like seaweed black lagoon just thrown all over the place. And then the idea of the vehicle, like, I wish that, the two guys, even though their vehicles were dirty and broke down, like, they drove cool cars that just needed some extra elbow grease. That van that they built, like, of all things, it couldn't have been a cooler van or something like that. I thought would have been, more fitting to the rest of the movie in the way that they portrayed vehicles.
Also, technically, making plastic out of cannabis and then thinking you're going to smoke it later seems like a lot of extra work. And then if you notice, the grill that they put in was basically just bundles of cannabis rolled around a tube. Yeah. Like, that's not plastic. That looks pretty obvious. And painting a pot leaf on the side, you're trying to cross the border from Mexico to the U.S. and smuggle pot, and you paint the pot leaf on the car.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
The car made of marijuana. Yeah. I mean, that's become such homage, right? I mean, I think about in Trailer Park Boys in later seasons, like, they pave a driveway out of hash so that they can hide their hash, right? Like that sort of thing of, like, turning the weed into the object is kind of an interesting idea to me. I don't specifically know why. I guess it's like this whole plant thing, right?
It's
like,
just a trick, because obviously plasticized cannabis would smoke like shit, and a hash that's been sitting in your driveway, no thanks. The little bits of gravel in it.
It's kind of like somebody, like, there's funny parts, but as a movie, as a film, right? If it's bad. Like, it's kind of like somebody left a Cheech Chong album paying and accidentally pointed a camera at it for 90 minutes.
That's fair. But also, last week we watched Boondock Saints, so I really...
That's true.
So I can definitely forgive some of the editing in this movie as, like, well, they were smoking a shit ton of weed this whole time.
Dude, you were actually offended. Your sensibilities were offended by the editing in that movie last week.
I was so mad about having, like... I was so mad.
That's good. It's good. Well, I want to tell you guys how this movie did, but let's just hit on a few favorite lines first, if you have any.
Dave's not here.
The classic. Yeah.
Hey, man, am I driving okay? When they're parked in the median, I thought was so funny. And yeah, that's all I can remember, really.
I liked another one of the fun ones with the cops is they were so intent on their code name, and they go, code name Hard Hat. Lard ass.
Yeah.
No. Lord ass. Hard hat! Hard hat!
I like that.
Yeah, no, you know what's funny about that is we've all known people where you're teasing them and they don't have the ability just to let shit go and they just keep getting upset, but then the friend just keeps going because it's like, oh, I found a button. Push.
Yes. Yeah.
I also laughed at that joke that the cop told the nuns, right? Oh, this reminds me of that joke that my dad told me when I was a kid. What's the only meat that a priest will eat on Fridays? None.
Oh yeah, that was so bad.
I was like, ugh. But it was just like the way that he told it, like it was so funny, and it was like the worst timing for a joke because they're getting arrested, and then he's mad that they don't like his joke.
Emily and I were talking about nuns yesterday at work.
Yeah, we were.
That's so weird. My husband who grew up in the Catholic schools in the UK says never turn your back on a nun.
That's so funny.
Well,
Whack.
the nuns were a very funny part. I agree. Just their faces when they're getting frisked.
Yeah, well, you know, they're married to Jesus, so they're not getting much. You know, he hasn't come back yet.
Okay, you guys want to hear how this movie did?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think this movie was successful?
It must have been because they made like 6,000 of them afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, well, according to Box Office Mojo Worldwide, Up in Smoke was the 13th biggest earner at the box office in 1978.
That's decent for a stoner movie. Come on.
That's great.
That's decent. Grease was the biggest earner at the box office this year, and Up in Smoke was beat by other comedies like Animal House, Revenge of the Pink Panther, and Foul Play. They all did better. But Up in Smoke did pretty well. It beat out Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Midnight Express.
Wow.
Just for the record, Annie Hall was the Oscar winner this year.
That was a good year for comedies, wasn't it?
It was a great year for comedies.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you, the budget for this movie was $2 million. That feels about right.
Yep.
In 1978, how much did this make in the box office? What's your guess?
So 78, way fewer cinemas, but everyone went to the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it made $20 million.
I'm going to say it made way more than that. I'm going to say it made like $80 million.
Oh, that's so funny. I was going to say less. I was going to go like 15 million just because the propaganda of the time.
Clef, I don't know what made you say that, but it's $104 million in 1978 dollars.
No.
Whoa!
And that's $520 million adjusted. So
Wow.
Wow.
imagine.
Up and smoke my ass.
I was so off, man. Holy crap.
This is what blew my mind. Like, imagine you hand two stoners $2 million and say, "Go ahead, do your thing," and you get $100 million back. It's insane.
Whoa! This makes so much more sense to me. Like, I always wondered, like, how did these guys get so rich? Like, this makes perfect sense.
Because
Interesting.
they got rich.
They just
Right.
fucking nailed it. That's all it is. They just nailed it.
But I'll tell you, their success had a half-life because basically every movie after that made half as much as the one before it. Like, it was just a downhill slide. This was the big one.
Well, that's...
I told you their entire catalog of 6 movies made $200 million in total at the box office. This one made 104 on its own.
Wow.
Well, that's how weed works. You need twice as much to get as high the next time.
I think
So,
also,
you know.
like, we have to admit, there's not a lot to this, and I think you probably did it all in 2 hours. Like, I can't imagine another 8 hours of this material.
No.
Yeah.
As funny as it was.
Agreed.
Okay, so now my favorite part, the Rotten Tomatoes. Emily, the way this works, Rotten Tomatoes score is out of 100, and it's not whether people think it's a 2 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. It's how many people said this was good enough to see, right? So if
Right.
if a Rotten Tomatoes score is 90, it means 90% of the people that saw this movie said it's worth seeing. So my question is, critics and audience, did they like this? Matthew, what do you think?
Yeah, it made that much money, right? And at the time, so a lot of people liked it. And I think that if somebody is reviewing this movie, like, I would not go, "Hey, I'm going to go watch a Cheech Chong
it's
movie."
self-selecting, right?
Right, it's self-selecting. So I'd say, like, 85% of people who reviewed this, like, say go watch it because it's self-selecting.
But what about
Right, 'cause
critics?
it is-
What about critics?
Critics probably like fucking 50% because this is a bad movie.
Okay.
I was also thinking that the audience probably liked this movie a lot more. So I would give the audience like 75 because I could see people also watching this movie and not liking it. I also think about like the war on drugs kind of
Yep.
like the time frame of
Agreed.
it, which makes me think that maybe reviewers probably would have liked it a lot less.
Wait till we get to the reviews.
So I would almost say reviews might be like 30. Like, I would go, like,
Yeah.
reviewers 30, audience 75, or, like, yeah, I'll go 75.
That's a very low reviewer number, Clef.
Yeah. I'm having this feeling that the reviewers must have hated it because, like, in 1978, like, I think a lot more people were like those cops, like, thought a lot more like those cops.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Emily, what do you think? Critics and audience out of 100.
Audience, I would say, yeah, I'm gonna go around like the 80, 90 sort of range in there. I think, to Matthew's point, like it was something that no one had ever seen at the time. Cannabis was still taboo. It's the first time it's on the screen in a comedic way. And then for critics,
You have to
because
you have to give an exact Emily. You have to give an exact
85.
number because because Olen scores and we see who wins.
okay. And then
Matthew wants to win.
my
Emily, if you do 81, you'll... No, no.
yeah, the Price is Right.
Price is right. 'em.
The critics, I feel like actually would have been around, the 60 mark. I think that because it was new, taboo, and a little bit more, again, rebellious. Like, I know I was saying to Matthew, I wrote an article in university, and because I chose a topic that was so absurd, I got a way higher score on it just because it was like exciting and enticing to read. So I think that might be something that leans into their decision.
I did the same thing. Well, you guys nailed the audience. So audience 82. 82% of regular people that saw this movie said, yeah, it's good. Get out and see it. Which, again, after watching it last night, that score surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be that high because I think, a lot of people would look at this and say like, oh, what's the big deal? Critics, 45. 45% of critics.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But you're probably right a little bit, Matthew, that it must be self-selecting. Like, I don't know that every famous movie critic is going to go see this film.
So one thing I learned doing this podcast. So Emily, I'm famously good at this. I think it's kind of my marketing brain, right?
Yeah.
Like what the population will like. You know what I mean? From reading data all the time. And yeah, I just think what I've learned through this process of doing all these shows is when something is this sort of like Cheech and Chong, like it's self-selecting, so and there's a lot of love or hate, but then the score is higher because the people who have actually gone to watch it do the review. So yeah.
Yep. So Matthew, you won that with an 8. Hey, before we move on to the trivia, I just want to say I forgot to tell you on the budget. Out of 100 episodes that we've done in this podcast, this is the second biggest multiple for box office ever. Only Star Wars had a bigger multiple. 2 million to 104.
Wow.
So this is a Star Wars of stoner movies.
It is. It is.
Well put. Very well put.
A little bit of trivia for you guys. So this was basically built not from a script, but by piecing together bits from their comedy albums.
And it feels like it. Yeah.
And they came up with the concept of the pot car because they just said, we need a way to explain why they're being chased. They couldn't get anybody to promote this movie for them, so they just used guerrilla marketing. They put signs on bus benches all over the place to try to get people to go see this movie. And it obviously worked.
Yeah, what?
I love that.
That's crazy.
Sometimes guerrilla marketing works, right? Because it becomes this underground. That would have been the right thing to do. Olen, I bet you that's the story they tell. They couldn't get anyone to promote it, but what they did was they actually hired somebody to do, quote, guerrilla marketing, because you don't make $100 million off of guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it must have been a lot of word of mouth too. I don't know.
Because these guys are, the funny thing about these two people as human beings is they play this like bad stoner image, but they're fucking smart men who made shitloads of money, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you met Tommy in person, any of you? Just like from working in the industry? He's always at our events and stuff.
He was at an event, but I didn't meet him. I saw him from a distance.
I met him, and when I went up to him, I was like, oh my God, like you can tell this guy's been smoking so much weed for forever. He's like so calm. I didn't even know if he had a heartbeat. He was so like still and soft. Like I was like, what the heck? He's a very, very gentle person.
Nice.
Totally. I met him at a protest in college, but I didn't know it was him at the time.
Oh, that's cool.
What were you protesting?
It was Occupy. It was the Occupy movement.
Occupy what?
Occupy Wall Street, baby.
Oh, okay. I used to hate.
Time.
I used to hate you guys, but you're all fucking proven right, my friend. Yeah, you're all
Yeah.
proven right. Now now I would do that protest.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple ones maybe. In 2024, this movie was selected for preservation by the U.S. National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for its cultural significance.
Oh,
So kids are going to learn about this movie forever.
Sure. I mean, it's a trope that has been done over and over in multiple movies. It gets referenced, yeah, absolutely. Pineapple Express, there's so many jokes in Pineapple Express that I see were taken, like, lifted from this movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Honestly, like, without this movie, what's his name wouldn't even have a career.
What's his name?
Seth Rogen wouldn't.
Oh, Seth Rogen.
yeah.
He wouldn't even have a career if it wasn't for this movie, and we wouldn't have had Pineapple
that.
Express or Half Baked or half
Nope.
these films, right?
Friday.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's quickly stop at woke or joke. So, Emily, this section is just anything we picked up on in the movie that maybe isn't all that cool anymore. And I found two. Did you guys find anything?
Yes, I have two.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Let me hear, Clef.
No,
See if we got the same ones.
Okay, the first one I've got is lighting up a joint together and then saying, "Let's get Chinese."
Yes.
Which
But
I thought was pretty funny.
coming from a character who's an actor who's actually half Chinese, I thought it was fine.
Well, that's true. That is true, and fair enough. But I also put down when they were at the Tijuana border and the reporter signs on as she's a Japanese woman and she signs on as Toyota Kawasaki.
I had that one.
Oh, come on. That was fucking hilarious. Those are real names.
They were. I wasn't saying they weren't funny. I was just saying they're not woke.
Yes, definitely not woke.
Only other one I had, Clef, was driving stoned.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that one.
Don't do that, listeners. Okay, so reviews. However you guys felt about this movie, I promise you there's others who liked it more or less than you. For this movie, there were 29 10-star reviews out of 117 total reviews.
Wow.
So I got a couple quotes for you guys. Great movie if you don't mind all the pot.
That's like saying Star Wars, great movie if you don't mind all the spaceship. Or
Star Wars if you don't like the nerd shit.
or like Halloween, like the slasher film, great movie if you don't mind all of the killing, right? Oh my god.
I thought you'd like that one. Next reviewer calls this the Citizen Kane of stoner movies.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Rosebud.
A triumph of American comedy, but with some deeper meaning. And then, Clef, you can probably relate to this one. When I saw this movie, I was completely high, could not stop laughing. I had to stop the movie 4 times. I saw an hour-and-a-half movie in 4 hours.
I watched this movie at like 5 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, and so I was like, you know what? I might as well just turn it on.
I saw Bowling for Columbine completely baked, and I laughed my ass off through the entire film.
Oh,
If you actually Bowling for
That's not
Columbine is
woke.
actually it's actually an incredibly funny movie,
It is pretty funny.
right?
How did that not come up during Boondock Saints?
so now we hear from people who liked it less. For this movie, there were only 5 people who gave it a 1-star review compared to the 29 10-star reviews. And you can probably guess the major complaint in all of these, right? What's the theme? Drugs. So a guy called Film Buff says, I think the first half hour might have had more drugs than The Wolf of Wall Street.
Hilarious.
Zinger.
Next reviewer, it's just not very good. I think you'd have to be seriously stoned to find it funny. Well, obviously not. We all watched it straight. And then this one is long, but I think worth reading. The message of this film sends us is one of tremendous social irresponsibility. The film is one of those films that Hollywood should be ashamed of. It's a great apology for consumption, liberal and recreational, of varied cocktails of drugs, which starts with weed and ends with acid, speed, and heroin. The way the subject is approached should have led to legal actions and arrest warrants against the actors, producers, studio, and director.
What a baby. Guy's a narc boy.
Oh my! These are the types of people that I'm like. First of all, whoever the fuck you reviewer. So the people who like try to put their moral values on other people, like, are the ones should be arrested and put in jail.
Yeah. I also think it's not that
I
serious.
cannot stand people like that. Just okay, you don't do drugs, we get it. Now go not do drugs. Right?
Yeah, just because you don't smoke weed doesn't make you better than people who do.
Right?
Well,
People who want to put anything into their body are allowed to put anything into their body. It's their body, not yours.
Hell yeah.
Right?
well, they end their review by saying, personally, I'm in favor of banning this film on moral and educational grounds.
Educational.
Okay, Anita Bryant.
All right. So we talked about reviewers who were self-selecting. How about Siskel and Ebert? So, Emily, we like to consult Siskel and Ebert, who were kind of the kings of movie reviews in the day. Any chance they like this?
No.
Up in Smoke was Siskel's dog of the week when he reviewed the movie. He called it totally unfunny. He called it 80 minutes of two jerks saying, hey, man.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought every like mainstream person would feel about that movie.
Ebert felt the film was basically a series of loose sketches built around Cheech Chong's personas and that it lacked any real story or comedic structure, appealing mainly to fans of their stoner humor rather than as a well-crafted movie. Well, I mean, that's at least fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I agree with that.
That's very fair.
Okay, so 2 thumbs down. They did not like it. Okay, so does this movie deserve a remake or sequel? Do you guys want to see more from these guys? We know they did 6 movies. We already talked about that. But you guys interested to watch more?
No.
I don't want to watch more,
And
but
so-
I like the idea of a remake, actually. Like a more modern take on it would be interesting. Like 2 stoners having an adventure, having to smuggle cannabis somehow. You know, we've had White Castle and things like that, but not really anything since legalization that would be, you know, as cool. But I think that could be fun.
That is true. Although sometimes I have wondered this since legalization, if like that kind of aspect of weed culture is going away, because it used to be
Yeah.
really tied to music and counterculture and had this sort of like, you know, like weed has always been around, but it wasn't as pronounced and easy to get. Like, I mean, when I was in high school, I knew people smoked weed, but I didn't touch it until I was in my 20s because
Right.
I just couldn't get it because I wasn't cool enough. I didn't have friends and like who were interested, and it wasn't something I would seek out. And now it's just something you can buy from the store.
Right.
So it makes me think that it would be like a drinking movie of some kind, you know?
Yeah, like it's not as relatable anymore to go on a quest to find cannabis. It's just you and the girls hopping in the car and driving to your local dispo now.
Yeah.
Grab your Starbucks on the way.
Yeah.
Drive through.
It's not the same, but
It was a unique time. It was a
Yeah.
unique time, and I grew up in it. I was a little young at the time, so I obviously wasn't into the cannabis culture at the time that this movie came out. But yeah, certainly aware of it.
what did your parents think of it then, Olen? Like as a young teen, did they say anything about watching it or anything like that? I know your dad reviewed it now, but was that something that he would have
liked
considered?
it. He liked it. He thought it was hilarious. He loves the like, hey man, kind of stuff. Like,
Well, your
But
dad,
like- but like drug culture.
your dad is from Amsterdam. So.
but also in a way, you know, I was thinking about this as a comedy structure. In a way, a lot of the comedy we had in that era was like this. My mom and dad loved Carol Burnett, and Carol Burnett was just a bunch of dumb sketches pieced together. Like Carol Burnett,
She was a genius.
yeah, the comedy was great, but it was a very similar style to this. I think just small sketches.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah,
So I can see why my dad liked it. He likes funny characters.
wasn't this the 70s really was about sketch shows, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That's what I'm realizing now as we talk this through.
Even the Muppets, the Muppets was a sketch
Oh,
show, right?
the Muppets are so good. Muppets Christmas Carol. Best
well,
movie
there's
ever.
the remake, Emily. We should do the Muppets, but have them all smoking pot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean,
I'd like to.
That would be so awesome.
I would like to see a Muppet version of Reservoir Dogs.
Oh my god.
okay, we'll do both those movies when we get our movie production company going.
That's so funny. That would be
Just
so
Muppet
good.
remakes. I love it.
Well, you're gonna sing now, Mr. Black.
should start doing this. Every episode, when we talk about a remake, we have to do the cast, but which Muppet character would play each character.
I would love to see a Muppet remake of this movie. I think it would be great, and you can have Waldorf and Statler be the cops. They would be perfect as the cops.
That's so good.
Okay, we are at the end of the podcast. We're going to end this, and I have to ask you guys, is Up in Smoke too old, or is it pure gold?
I think it's too old, not because it's offensive. And I do see, it's not bad, right? Like, it wasn't great. I love some parts, but I get why people like it, so I'm not going to diss it, right? But in 1978, the joke of two complete idiots like accidentally smuggling a van and stuff. Today, it just wouldn't work. So it's too old, and I think modern audiences are used to anti-heroes or criminals or sociopaths or masterminds, right? Characters who want something. Cheech and Chong just wanted sandwiches. So it kind of falls flat because there's no real you're on the seat, the edge of your seat, what's going to happen. So I think it's too old because of that.
Clef.
I think that's a good argument. I think this movie is pure gold, pure Acapulco gold. I think it's a good time. I think this movie was very relevant in its moment. I think that if you think about how much it has carried throughout the generations, how many things it's referenced, I see it as like an important canonical text in the stoner evolution of the 20th century and 21st century. I have to say pure gold, 100%.
And the Congress Library or whatever the
Library of
Congress agrees with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I second Clef as well. I think that, as a stoner at events all over Canada with various age groups, the one thing that ties all of us together is Cheech and Chong. It's the shirts that they wear, the quotes on their bags. Like, people are still representing this movie everywhere in every way, and like the cannabis culture, in my opinion. And like, honestly, Tommy's got his brand here in Canada, Tommy's Craft. It's something you can buy. There's like, he's still very relevant, and I think that that's just a testament to the fact that it's pure gold and it's here to stay. And I think about myself as a consumer, and like, as soon as my son's old enough, I'm absolutely watching this with him and laughing and smoking our joints together and giggling and stuff, right? Like, it's exactly what I imagined, like, passing down as part of the culture of cannabis. Like, they were the first ones to do it, and they're going to live on for sure. So definitely pure gold.
He's going to rebel against you and like become a cop.
He told me that he's never going to smoke. I was
Sergeant
like,
Stadenko.
yeah.
He told you he's never going to smoke?
Yeah, he told me that the other day. He was like, yeah, I just thought about it, and I just like don't think I need it. And I was like, cool, you might change your mind one day, but definitely don't change your mind on that before you're 18 in Alberta. 19 otherwhere.
Well, I'll go last. So this is really interesting, Mathew, that the millennials who we're usually trying to convince to love the films that we loved as kids are liking this. For me, I'm actually going to be similar to Mathew and give it a too old. I mean, I get its significance, but I actually looked, I said, what other comedies did we have in and around this plus or minus 2 years? And we had, we have Mel Brooks movies, we have Airplane, Caddyshack, 9 to 5. And I thought, man, it was such a good era for comedy. And when you stack this up against it, I mean, it to me, a little bit too old, but I get it. I really enjoyed talking about it. And I love the scenes that you guys brought up. There was some real gold within this movie.
Mm-hmm.
There was gold within
There was gold in the movie, but the movie as a whole, I'm going to call it too old.
Yeah.
What a great conversation.
Yeah, this was totally
that was fun.
Clef, as always, a delight to have you on. Emily, thanks for joining for the first time. Pretty fun.
Thanks for having me.
Clef, just so you know, Clef, he never tells me that it's a delight to have me on.
Well, it depends on the day, Mathew.
I'll say what I say every time, Mathew. Thanks for being you.
That is what you say.
Okay, we are
No.
out.
Okay, good.
Yeah.